Hello, hello. Welcome, Rob and Mark. How are you doing?
I'm
Hey,
doing really well.
Good to
sorry,
have you both on.
that was a long 5 minutes. I almost fell asleep.
Well, you gotta have Rob's little moment of zen. I was gonna say yes, yes. How many fish, by the way, in your koi pond?
There we go. Oh, thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the first time to have both of you on together. I'm sure there's going to be some fun, fruitful conversations. Rob, your first time. Mark, your third.
Second, yeah, third. Yeah, second as me though.
Yeah, that's right. Because one of them was entirely just puppet.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really exist.
Yeah, and this is the first time we, Rob, it was a reach out to you on kind of the idea of talking about the Fabric Toolbox, and you didn't take much convincing on my end to get Mark into into this because you're essentially like are you the or one of the product owners for the toolbox?
I don't.
Or what? Like, how would you describe your involvement in it? Maybe better question.
So, all right, it was a guy called Nick was running it, and then I took it over from him. So essentially, I manage it, I create it, I and a group of other people at Microsoft will do the approving of PRs, of checking of new projects. So if someone submits something brand new, we'll do the code reviews, we'll do everything. So essentially, we look after it and make sure that when you do a PR, when Rob does a PR, that he doesn't always have to ping me on Teams directly before that PR gets accepted, and we can accept those PRs and merge them in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.
So, caretaker.
Yeah, there you go. Chief, that can be your title. Chief caretaker can be your zip. There we go.
Would it be a good time to sort of say, well, what is the Fabric Toolbox?
Let's start with a little introduction, as I like to do with the channel, just to get people a chance to get to know you. So, Rob, I'll pass the ball to and torch to you. A bit of introduction about yourself, any fun and factoids or information. We already have the koi pond to go off with, and then we'll start from there. Oh, so and cats.
And we have a cat called Seek who's very demanding. He likes to be in view of camera and his audience. So my name is Rob Sewell. I am a chief data officer, which is kind of a strange title. I lead a team of Fabric data engineers who like to solve tough problems for a company called Azure. So that's what I do for work. And then outside of the work, I spend most of my time playing with things. I like to automate things. I like to deal with open source. I run conferences and I like to speak. So Microsoft say that I do so much of that they've made me into an MVP. So that's been kind of cool. And obviously Fabric is, a central part of my work life, and I try to mess about with it in the open source world and in the other things that I do.
Yeah, we run into each other at least 8-9 conferences plus at this point. I swear, maybe even more than that. Honestly, it's like 2 to 3 a year we bump into each other at.
It's
SQL bits, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, like, honestly, I'm sure you feel the same. Like, these days, half the fun is just catching up with friends and colleagues and getting a chance to see people that you mostly only see in the conference circuits, right?
Absolutely. And it's like my wife says, it's tough sometimes to see where my work ends and my social life begins and my hobby begins, because they all kind of sort of blur into one. I think that's kind of a cool way to be.
Exactly. Like, it's nice when a work trip can also be enjoyable and a bit of a vacation at the same time.
Yeah.
And Mark, okay, go ahead.
Mark even longer than I've known you, Reed.
Yeah, well, I would imagine you guys go a decent amount back, but yeah, Mark, I'll use that as an opportunity to pass the torch over to you. Give yourself a chance to introduce yourself a bit.
Yeah, it's great to get a chance to be on a podcast with Rob and speak, because he normally doesn't like that. Yeah, so my name's Mark. I'm a product manager, program manager. I'm not really sure the right prefix. PM at Microsoft. I work in the Fabric Cat team, and the little tagline I like to say is we help the biggest customers with the biggest problems. And I focus mostly on the warehouse, on mirroring, on just generally fabricy stuff. So that's what I do as a day job, really. Fabric.
Out of curiosity, like if you were to share one anecdote anonymously of what has been the biggest problem that you've ever come across that kind of like just blew your mind a little bit when a customer came to you with like, we have X as a problem, was just like, oh my God.
We recently got a customer wanted to do 100 concurrent users, so as in query users, or so at the not just over a period of time, at the same time, and we made that work. And in fact, we even pushed it beyond that.
Is that where you came up with your Power Hour like little demos to try to like see how you could get concurrent, increase concurrency?
Well, no. Well, that's what we got on one single SQL Analytics endpoint. Warehouse. So we could do that on one. And then for the Power Hour, I mean, I like, just like Rob, I like to talk. So as well, I did a little demo of essentially showing that you can linearly scale Fabric, warehouse, sequence endpoint, mirror databases, potentially infinitely or as big as your wallet would go by essentially using extra workspaces and shortcuts to that data. And then I just showed a little client I made querying it. And there was 730 concurrent queries all on, but I needed 23 workspaces. And that when I ran the test for half an hour of a soak test, it did max out my F64. So the following 2 days, I had no capacity, which did make me scared because this was like a couple of days before the demo at the Power Hour, and I hadn't got a recording of it. So I was a little bit nervous before that. But yeah, never go. Yeah, I'll leave that running for ages. What could possibly go wrong?
What is it? Dangerously allow all, or whenever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the most fun recent thing. And then so I did that other thing. I've got another little side project as well, but we can talk about that later when we talk about different projects actually that solution is in the Fabric Toolbox. That's what you call a segue.
Yeah, very nice segue. You teed that up well. But yeah, with that in onto the topic of the day, is there anything you want to talk about first, or do you have some slides to kind of use as a good intro to talking into the subject, Rob?
We've got some slides just not to show off anything, but just to give us some things to talk about as we go through, and for people to look at as well as just us. So,
hey, Rob, what is the Fabric Toolbox? What is it to you?
So let's press the magic button. Look at that. See, it's amazing. It's like I didn't even touch anything. Thank you, Reed. The Fabric Toolbox is precisely the things that you want to use to help you solve the problems around the edges of what's available within Fabric. Or it's the accelerators, tools, and scripts that solve real Fabric problems. And if we can actually make that, we'll do this because it's kind of fun. I know we did an introduction, but I couldn't resist a picture of me on stage at SQL Bits. And of course, if I've got me on stage on SQL Bits, then I really ought to have a picture of Mark in his professional outfit, representing Microsoft on stage at SQL Bits. I think here's the thing that we have about Fabric is it's some of the places where stuff doesn't quite match what you want. Capacity metrics is fantastic. You can get that information, you can dive into what's going on, but it only keeps 14 days history.
Yep.
So if you need to analyze what's been happening for a quarter or a year, or your end of month process, or all those things, it becomes a little bit more tricky to see what's been going on.
It really would be nice if there was a switch you could just flip on that, you know. Yeah, like I'm sure you will be showing solutions to this problem, but it's I will agree, it's a very common pain point for about customers. Like, man, I'd love to be able to go back more than 14 days.
What happened 16 days ago? Because we had this problem, and so it's just arisen because of the length of time for ETL or people noticing what's happening. And you're like, oh, I don't know, can't see that one. It's things like this.
Yep.
And I'm an automation person, so for me, clicking in the GUI is not something I particularly want to do very much. So I like to have scripting solutions. And even though I run the PowerShell conference, I do the Microsoft Fabric PowerShell module, I am not beholden to PowerShell. I'm happy to work with any coding language that we have. I mean, maybe not DAX. Maybe I'll leave DAX for other people. But, I'm happy for many things. And there are many other tools within the toolbox that help you with some of these issues that you have.
Excellent.
If we take a step back, then we've got Fabric Toolbox. So Mark is probably best to explain how it came into life within Microsoft.
Yeah, so we used to have a long time ago in a galaxy
far, far away.
Naboo was under an attack. Sorry. Sorry, this is a serious podcast, isn't it? Not the we had something called the Tiger Team Toolbox for SQL Server. And actually, Rob and I had a lovely time in Manchester. And I used to go around presenting on it and going, there's a great set of tools here that the Tiger team have put together to make SQL Server, your SQL Server life more interesting and easier, and you can sleep better at night. Then after that, we had one for Synapse. So there was a Synapse Toolbox that's still out there. And so when Fabric came out, we started to do the same thing with Fabric. So essentially, whenever they all start generally with the cat team, so the Tiger team, or in our case, the cat team when we were in Synapse and Fabric, going, I've written a script. Oh, other people could use that script. What shall I do with it? I know, I'll chuck it in the bin. No, I won't. I'll put it somewhere where other people can get at it, and so now I can share that out with other people. And so it starts with one script, it starts with two scripts, and then before you know it, you've got a whole library of scripts, and you've got scripts not only that do work on the Fabric warehouse, but also you've got notebooks, for Lakehouse. You've then got PowerShell modules. You've then got FUAM, which is a monitoring thing being put in. You then build this big toolbox, essentially, of useful scripts and libraries of stuff that are just to make your life a little bit easier. And as Rob said, it's to get over the rough areas and to share stuff. And so one of the scripts that I've written by alter table, in a couple of days, that script will no longer be needed because we'll actually have got all that functionality, and that rough edge will be completely smoothed out. So
Rob, just as a quick question, did Claude build this slide for you? Because there's a certain tell that I know from Claude, having had slides built myself from it.
Claude made some of the framework. It's a copilot
because it has a tendency to add borders, but it doesn't. It sometimes rounds and then keeps the bar straight. Yeah. Like say, because I've had some I've had that exact thing that I've seen from. It's like, I think that's a Claude slide because it's great for that. But I was just a random anecdote. Sorry to derail.
That's right.
No, it's cool because I like it. I think it's just an interesting these little glitches that we get inside this new solution that we have to make things look amazing.
Yep.
They look like
exactly.
jars.
Actually, yeah, with the screwed top, it does make it look like a jar top. Yeah, these are just little jars of tools that you store. And don't you just keep everything in jars? Are you not a jar or a jarhead?
I'm not a jarhead. But yeah, definitely.
For people listening, I swear we will give practical information in between the jokes that we have today.
There are jokes.
Yeah, there's 3 of us on the side.
Exactly.
Yeah. So literally the slide comes. So this is just a sample of the stuff that we have got in there. There's a whole load of stuff. And actually what has become a problem is just the sheer amount of stuff in there. And we have actually, I've been talking to one of the guys who made Fuam about having a nicer user interface. So you could be able to search or just find stuff that you want rather than traverse a directory structure. It's very, 2000s. It's very Web 1.0 at the moment, the front end.
I think it's like sort of 4 sort of main areas, aren't there, in the module? Let's have a look at this. If you went and had a look at this is the GitHub repo, and if you go and have a look here, you can see that mainly you've got a monitoring area, you've got a tools area, you've got a script C sample area, and you've got some accelerators. So that's kind of the 4 big jars, I guess, is the best way of putting it, of the things that you have. And yeah, I mean, Mark said it well. If you were to press a dot and open it up in fact in the code editor,
How did you
then
do that?
you can see that you can start to see there's actually many things here.
Wait a minute, Rob. What magic did you do then? Was that something you had prepared?
So if you're in any GitHub repository, and you press what you and I, Mark, would call the full stop, but Reed probably calls the period. What it does is it opens up in your browser a code editor that you can use to view the code for the repository.
Wow, that's cool.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you can actually, if you don't want to run any tests or anything, you can actually just code straight in here, create your PRs and do this sort of thing. So kind of neat.
Okay,
I like that.
You make my life so much easier.
This is my aim in the world. But I think, like what you were saying, Mark, is that there are lots and 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 lots of things that are here. But you said FWAM. So is that if I did a search here and I looked for FWAM, is that what it looks like? FWAM. I get a load of PowerShell.
No, it's not.
FWAM.
No, not FWAM.
So where did we put it? This is in accelerators. It is the Fabric Unified Admin Monitoring.
So it is, in fact, just about here.
Yeah.
So Fabric Unified Admin Monitoring. And this is the thing. I don't even know if this shortcut will work. No, it won't. That's a shame. Let's do a preview. Oh no. Why won't you preview this for me, please? Oh, my shortcut for that one doesn't work. So
shouldn't it be Control Shift L or Control? Yeah, right. That does the live preview.
Control Shift L. Nope. Nope. Well, we can go back to here because here we will. Oh no, not tools. Here we will find out what it is. While Mark explains why FWAM would have helped him to see what was happening in his capacity.
So, well, actually, it wouldn't have, because everything, I only have one capacity, and therefore, once you run out of capacity, you can't use your capacity to see how you run out of capacity. There's a slight challenge with that. But so that first problem that Robert said, that we'd only store 14 days, it's a bit of a rough edge. You can use FUAM to now store stuff pretty much indefinitely, and it is a fuller and a richer set of reports to monitor what's going on in your capacity. And it's built by, I think, 2 CSAs. And they built it to get around these rough edges. And it is...
Well, for those that don't know, what's a CSA, Mark?
A cloud solution architect. So they are the lovely people at Microsoft who you work with, who don't try and sell you things.
I feel like so I know there's been a move towards roundy, but like I feel like the graphic design of this is like extra roundy, even compared to the normal Microsoft roundy, right? Like you're laughing, like I feel like there's an inside joke here.
No, it's just I'm aware of these things. It's just like everything is getting.
It's almost like squishy. Like they're so round, they almost look like plush. It's almost plush. Yeah, like it's like they like it looks like if I squeezed it, it would squeak.
But I think here's an important thing, because you said like Microsoft is going this way, and I think everything that's here is, some of it is made by people who work for Microsoft.
Yeah,
but it is not a Microsoft released product. It's made by the CSAs, made by the CAT team, made by people who build cool stuff, but it's not necessarily all Microsoft based. Yeah. Sorry, Mark, we've interrupted you. This will happen often. So,
with you, it never happens. It's always a joy, never pain. So, as actually just what Rob was saying, is that originally it would be the CAT team members who put stuff in, and we would be checking stuff in, and it would just be stuff that we found when working for customers. And then we had teams like the 2 CSAs who built FUAM saying, can we put this on the toolbox? And we went, yeah, it's a great idea. Well, why should we keep this to ourselves? And we have scripts and some other tools that are put on by the community. We still approve it, and obviously we have to check stuff over, especially if it's coming from, because we don't want to put stuff up there, because even though it isn't an official Microsoft supported product, if something bad goes up there because it's in the GitHub/Microsoft space, we would get, that would look terrible. So that's why we have to be very careful about what goes up there. But we do accept community stuff. Even people like Rob do quite a lot of check-ins. We might see his name come up later. That's called foreshadowing.
I love. So I'll talk a little bit more about FOM, because I love it. I love it for 2 reasons. Because it enables me to answer the question for a global corporation with 20 capacities and tens of thousands of workspaces of what is happening, who has access, what happened last week, what has changed in my tenant settings, all of those sort of questions that you get asked, instead of like, I could go and build this stuff, but here it is all built, ready for me to be able to go through. There's masses of reports and drill downs and all sorts of things.
Yep.
So it's really super useful. But the other reason I like it is because it shows you how these things can be built. So if you're a person who's looking at how could I build these automations, how can I use Fabric to get data from over here, do some manipulation, run some pipelines on some notebooks, how does this sort of solution look? FOM is a really good example of some of those challenges being solved. And it's like,
go ahead.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I love I think the nice thing about these like first party but community first party extensibility tools is that they're a lot quicker to and more agile to develop, because they're not going through the same type of release cycles and schedules that something that would be like true native would go into. So I think it's easier to adopt to changing winds at a quicker pace.
Yep. And I think this is the thing with Farm is you're getting your tenant metadata, you're getting your capacity metrics. So literally the data that you see in capacity metrics gets fired into Farm. And what I do is I actually run just that capacity metrics pipeline once every hour or so. If the customer wanted it more frequently, you could change the frequency of that. So you're getting exactly the same data. It's just then presented. And like Mark said, it's stored for you. And even can be backed up for you. You're getting all of the best practice information. You're getting the information from the activity logs. You're getting all of your refresh information, and you're getting your user access information all in one place without having to go off and search for it in many disparate browser tabs. I mean, we've probably all got enough browser tabs open as we go.
Exactly.
Right. So that's, I think, is Mark, do you have any knowledge on what is the most, for me, Farm is always the one that people talk about when they talk about Fabric Toolbox.
It is, apart from the homepage, it is the most hit page. It's the most popular part of the site. And through different phases, literally the top 10 pages, at some point when I've looked at the metrics, they've all been FUAM pages. But if you look at it today, I think the homepage is there twice, and then pretty much most of the other pages FUAM, and then one is the sister project, which is the cost-based one.
Oh, should we talk about that?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that.
FCA. So the beauty of both of these things is that you run a notebook to deploy it, and pretty much there's a bit more configuration to do, but they will do all of the magic for you. And it's the same for updating. I was chatting with another MVP about FCA today, because with FCA, what we're doing is we're getting the Azure cost, which is stored in Azure. So you would have to get it from the cost analysis page in the Azure portal, not in Fabric. And then you can pull in all of that information. You run an export in Azure to a storage account, and then you build a shortcut to a lakehouse, and then you build your processes on top of that, which is exactly what you would do for other solutions that you're building, which is what I think is a nice way of learning how to do this stuff as well. You always get your quotas and your reservations. And then have they got a picture? Yes, they've got some pictures. And then immediately you can see what has been happening cost-wise on your capacities, where your capacities are, and drill into some more details. So again, it's super useful. It would be nice to be able to add in some additional metrics data into there. So internal charging within corporations sometimes has a percentage increase for admin from the local team that needs to be added into the cost that the internal customer pays. But other than that, this I think is a super good way of displaying what's going on.
We had talked about merging the two projects at some point. We were talking between the FUAM team and the FCA team. Well, essentially, they're two different sets of people inside Microsoft building that stuff. We decided not to do it, but it would make sense at certain points, because when you're talking about capacities, you want to talk about usage and then costing. But they're two separate groups of people that have written them, so that's why they are separate, and why they'll look different. You'll see that the reports are very different styling. But
not as roundy, is it? This one, not as plushy.
But FUAM has been around a little bit longer.
Slightly, yeah.
So this is one of the things, and this was, I can't remember when we had the meeting. It was going to be that long ago. I think it was this year when FCA was added. We could even go back and look at the GitHub history. But one of the things I love about GitHub is, especially open source projects, is if you see a problem, you can go in and go, hey, look, I want to fix that, or I can fix that, or I can go in and see exactly what the code is doing, as Rob was saying. Yeah, there's no magic, there's no mystery. When did we add it in?
So it was added in on the 3rd of September.
Oh, okay.
And Roman is the cloud solution architect. There we go. I've talked to Roman a few times about this.
All the way back.
There we go.
I think he's like
Yes.
Second or third most. The person who submitted the second or third most number of changes. Third, maybe. I saw his name in the list earlier. I'm taking it out.
There we go. There's your list. These are the contributions. These are not the commits. So Mark is at the top because you do all of the approvals. Well, not all. You do a significant number of the approvals for the entire repo.
I know. I do. All those bumps that need to be done on version numbers and the automatic checking. Sorry, it's a little. When you look after a repo, there's some stuff that we have that monitors it to make sure that all the versions are kept up to date automatically and there's no kind of security problems. So there's a whole process of having to keep those updated. The last commit was one of those.
Let's have a look at the last. So is that done with a pull request, Mark?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So the Data Factory Migration Assistant, if you click on, so it was just some version number change because
it bumps the UUI'd from that one to that one.
Yeah, there's just a version number. There's in one of the Python libraries, there's a version number change.
Yep.
And that just keeps everything kind of secure. So we're making sure that it's a bit of an admin job, but you don't really think about it. But you have to keep all that code up to date. Otherwise, there could be issues creeping in, just bugs in old versions or security issues.
Security issues. This is the challenge of being an open source maintainer. I've been doing it for a long time. It's something you've got to keep on top of, and for you to have the added pressure of doing it for a Microsoft hosted repo, fair play.
I've just got very, very wide shoulders. I take that burden.
Never skip shoulder day.
Did you want to have what was there any other projects you like, Rob, or did you mention the migration assistant in one of your other slides?
So the migration assistant that's an accelerator, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I thought you were going to ask me what's the difference between a tool, an accelerator, and a sample.
Okay, we can do that. What, Mark? I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I think Reed would really like to know what the difference is between a tool and a script and an accelerator.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. I definitely was thinking that exact thing.
Well, how do you find things? And so we do have a lot. So scripts are relatively simple because they're generally quite small, single file scripts that do a very specific job. So generally they're pretty easy to do. Everything else pretty much depends on the day of the week and who's submitting it and how I feel of whether that sounds like a tool or sounds like an accelerator. So
what's Mirror CTI tables for Fabric SQL DB by Mark Price-Mayer?
Okay, well, you can have a look at the readme. Well, what that one does is it turns CCI tables into real tables, non-CCI tables, and then mirroring will just pick up.
Okay.
Because you can't mirror CCI tables. So this is where, so for example, we had a number of people, I say, in Fabric mirroring from SQL DB and MI and SQL Server and Fabric SQL. I've got CCI tables and they don't mirror, and they don't because we don't have all the clever kind of version stuff to go to the normal table. CCI tables are just column store. They're designed to be compressed and super cool for reading, but writing, there's some optimizations that we've done. So to make it mirror, if you scroll down, all it does is just creates a table, a normal based upon the CCI table. So you say which table I want to mirror, and it just turns it from a normal table into a CCI table and creates a log of the change, any change.
You need to have a YouTube channel like Will It Blend, but it's Will It Mirror.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got like a for loop in there, and really because people were saying, well, I can't do this today in the product, and so and then what happens is I think, well, why can't we do that? Is there a way around that? Is there a way we can get the customer to solve that problem in a really, and this is actually a really simple script. And in fact, it might look complicated, but it's not that complicated. It looks worse in this font size. When you squint it down, you'll see it's not too bad. But we have to do dynamic SQL to recreate the table, to get all the columns from the original table, and then this is just an example of another one of the rough edges. Rob is not in this case not particularly a rough edge because it's a design decision. It's not something we could change easily, but it was one of those ones where you've got a problem. Can we fix it? This is a creative way of fixing it, and then sharing it with people. Honestly, I don't think anyone's ever used that script. No one's ever said, I've used that script and it's worked for me. But other ones on there, they have. But,
they will now if they've got a CCI. So that's an example of a script. It's like it's in the name, isn't it? It's a one file quick solution that's going to do something.
Well, so, honestly, like with a lot of these, you're really going in and like usually grabbing these things yourself. These days, with a lot of the CLIs and agentic stuff, like this goes into a toolbox, and any management tool that you have that's running a weekly Git action or something else that might be doing monitoring or optimization suggestions would probably pull one of these. And like I recommend that you do X on this table to convert from A to B, given your setup that I've reviewed this week.
MCP skills, baby.
Yeah.
So tools are sort of like one-off programs that do a certain job, and it's quite hard decision when something is an accelerator or a tool. So we do sometimes we might not quite get it right, and you could consider it an accelerator or you could consider it a tool. But so, for example, I did the Gen 2 to Fabric DW, which is just I considered a tool to copy data from Synapse Gen 2 to Fabric DW. So it's just a one-off tool, does a job.
I like the fact that we've got an MCP server for DAX Performance Tuner. We've got an MCP server here. We've got an MCP server for semantic model. So these additional things, like Reed says, that you can build into your AI solutions, your agentic solutions. You can add in these skills, these MCP servers, to be able to help you to move quicker to generate this stuff.
Well, and just briefly on the semantic model MCP server, one thing I'm really excited that Tabular Editor is releasing very soon is their updated CLI. It's coming out in a couple of weeks. They'll be doing a live stream with me on that, but like that one's going to be gangbusters when that comes out, because it, having that headless interaction to have a LLM write C# scripts directly through Tabular Editor is going to be super cool for modeling.
Super nice. So these tools seem to be things to do stuff. Is that fair, Mark? Fabric load test tool, a couple of Python networks, or a security audit. That's kind of nice. I meant to go and start looking at this. In fact, I will. But these are some good ones. So what's an accelerator then? I mean, it's the gas pedal, obviously.
Yeah. So FUAM, I think, was an accelerator to get you started. So to get you started in a solution, although you could say, well, FUAM is a tool, but it is more of a solution. And we have a number of BCDR. If you open up the BCDR folders, there's so many more scripts and things in the BCDR area and the CI/CD areas. So this is CI/CD is the biggest one. Yes, so there's so many little scripts and tools and accelerators to try and get you to use CI/CD and to get around some of the rougher edges that we currently have today. Obviously, ultimately, a lot of these will just die away as we get better and we fix all those issues.
That's an interesting question then. So, Mark, do you have a process for what happens to these solutions, whatever they might be, when Microsoft brings something that betters that into the actual Fabric ecosystem?
Not yet, but we should have. So essentially, what I don't want to do is just remove it, because someone will go, well, actually, I was using that. I'm quite happy with it. So we will probably just update the README and just say, right, there is a newer, better way, and here's the link to it. Actually, there is one other interesting one in here, and I think it's not in the accelerators. It is I forgot what it's called. It is a policy weaver, so it might be in tools.
So if I could type policy weaver.
Oh no, it's an accelerator. Okay, yeah. So policy weaver, and so this is something that we are considering doing. So there's not more of. Is that
okay?
It's so policy weaver is a way of taking security information from Snowflake and Databricks and bringing it across into Fabric. But we don't keep the code on the toolbox. It's maintained outside it, but we're using the toolbox as a central repository for finding that information.
To pull it in for the okay.
Yeah. So
synchronize. Yeah. Okay.
So,
That's
we
nice.
may do this with a few more projects. There's another project I want to add on, which is a SQL DW and
that's
SQL
cool.
endpoint like maintenance project and advisor, and that's done by someone in our support team. I want to add that in, but he wants to keep it on his own. He doesn't want to move it to the toolbox. Absolutely fine. You don't have to move your code, but we'll put something on the toolbox to link out to it, and therefore kind of it then becomes toolbox is still a central place to go and find this stuff, but we can help people find the right tools.
I like this one because managing security and policies can be a spiderweb nightmare. So anything that can help at least audit or help to point out discrepancies between any of the systems and somewhat unified, I think would be really help.
Yeah, being able to synchronize it across catalogs, that's super cool. Yeah, I like this.
We probably just don't even shout about this stuff enough. So I think policy speed has been around for a while, but we just don't. We're sometimes just terrible at marketing our own work and our own teams. So yeah, I think this is written by some GBB, some global black belts.
Let's have a look. I mean, I like as I don't know what you think, Reed, but as a consultant, I always feel that this is it's one step down from using Microsoft's own tooling, but it gives clients that satisfaction of knowing that this is something they can see what the code is, they can see what's happening. They know that it might not be supported, but there is some, there's some guardrails around what is going in for this. And you're not just got a consultant who's building their own special project to solve something that only they know how to fix. This is actually here open source and available to be interacted with.
No, I agree. I think the big thing is just the guardrails that come around this, and a bit of the vetted practices that it's incorporated into this, and it's just a time saver too. Because I outside of a very few select number of people, I don't know anybody who's like, man, I really like security and policy and governance. That's so much fun to set up. That's my favorite thing. No, it's usually painful and nightmarish and it's necessary, but it's like documentation. Nobody likes to do documentation, but you need to do documentation. So any tool to help you just accelerate that and hopefully automate it so you don't have to worry about it anymore is always a strong win from a consulting perspective. and it builds trust with the clients.
Trust. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah, that I'm glad, Mark. Today I learned about this, and I will definitely be taking it to 2 places tomorrow and saying, does this solve some of our problems? So
you see,
can we
learned, go on. I learned something, you learned something, we all learned something. It's a school night.
Can we talk about what people can do to help it be better?
Okay. So I got so just a very simple example. I got a request from someone internally saying, when are we adding the authentic code samples to the toolbox? And my response was, when you check it in. So it is, anyone can, I say, anybody's got a computer who knows how to use GitHub and can submit a PR, can put code in this repo. If it's useful, and ideally it's not billions of lines of code, so it doesn't take me forever to review it, then it could go up relatively quickly. So this isn't a Microsoft only. If there are a number of external people to Microsoft who people I don't know who they are, don't know where they're from, but they've written a little code sample, they've submitted it, and I've gone, yeah, that looks good, I like that. We have a few things like we want to read me with it, as if we don't want you putting images called image 1 in there, and we just randomly dropping stuff in random places. Or I think someone,
if you scroll up, by the way, Alex Powers just dropped a hi in the chat, and you can see his icon if you scroll up, looking at the contributors on the right there. Yeah, there you are.
There he is. Hi, Alex.
Oh, look, there are people saying hello. I didn't notice that.
Love you. I think that one thing that would be cool if somebody did is to actually improve this, because I think this is a little bit prohibitive to your average person to come in. And so how do I start contributing? Because you come and talk to me, I'll say, well, it's easy. What you do is you come in, you clone your repo, doing this, or you can open it in the web editor like we saw when it's in your own repo, and you can make some changes, and then you need to create a PR, and you'll have a new pull request, and it's like, okay, we'll compare. We've got, I haven't got Jess and Rob's on there. We'll compare from here. Let's create this. Now I'm going to create a pull request. And there's this whole process, and you've got to fill these things in with the correct information and then pass it on for it to be done. But I think it would be useful for somebody to build this process into a contributing .markdown so that anybody can see how to do it to follow it. It's also a great way to be the first thing that you do to join in with the open source community. Doesn't have to be just code, I think, is the message here. It can literally just be improving some documentation, adding some screenshots, fixing marks, spelling checks,
Well, I mean,
removing M dashes.
Oh, removing M dashes, definitely.
Why are they M dashes? They're just hyphens, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's meant to indicate either a long pause or a connection between stuff. It was used often in Shakespearean writing. But yeah, indicate breaks, interruptions, or parenthetical information to be able to string like 2 trains of thought together. I actually really like them. They just, unfortunately, like 3.5 or whatever, GPT and a bunch of others started to use them all over the place. So they're like a sign of AI, even if you're using them correctly, unfortunately. Give it like 2 to 3 years, and hopefully AIs will stop using them and we can go back to it. But I try to avoid them for that reason. Is it's like, oh, that was clearly written by AI, not you. Like, no, I just like M dashes.
And the thing is that actually they've been around for a long time, which I didn't know.
1800s, yeah.
Yeah. And And Mark, I'm surprised that you don't use N dashes.
I'll use
Yeah,
hyphen.
because there's an N. There's an
Is it?
N and an M because it depends on how long, how wide it is, and it's the length of an M letter or the length of an N letter. Yeah.
And neither of those are a hyphen.
That would go back to printing.
It's
They
like,
fix
yeah,
fonts
this,
now.
this, and this, and I'm sure somebody's gonna probably gift that into it.
Big fish, small fish, cardboard box.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, I'll take that away as this is how you contribute, and then we can do a little video and I'll submit it up there. And actually, if I submit it, just so everyone knows, someone else, one of the other people, is the people who can approve stuff, approve it. We never approve our own work. So I have had people like go, well, you just submit, just approve it. No. Everything needs to be checked. And I try not to get bogged down in all the, everything should be reasonable. So I know there's a bit of a process and stuff, but there is a reason for having a process of you having your own copy of it, submit it to your own repo, and then doing the PR across. Because I've had people going, why can't I submit directly into it? And I'd be like, no, that's not how we do it here.
No, what you do is something like this. So I have my own SQL DBA with a beard repository, but Jess Pomfret and I also share an organization because we do a lot of coding work together, and it just kind of made sense. And this is the Fabric Toolbox. Oops, that is the Fabric Toolbox. And you can see it says there, forked from the Microsoft. And it also actually says that this branch is 46 commits behind. It's really cool because I can just go like this and say, I'd like to update that, please. And then any changes, any code that we make, we make the changes here in our repository. This is this is where we do it. This is there we go. So my sister asked to see a picture of Seek. He's asleep, but there is a picture of Seek. Jess and I do it here, and then we create a PR from our repository back into the Microsoft Fabric Toolbox one, and then it gets checked, scanned, and then approved, and then it makes its way into the full toolbox. And anybody can do that for something that is a massive change for a new tool or some cool thing, or fixing an M dash. They will all go through the same process.
Yeah. Yes. And if you feel inclined and you see, so this is where we want to empower people. So look, you can submit this. But also, if you find a spelling mistake or you find a problem in just the Microsoft documentation, anyone can go and submit a change. They can go, oh, look, that looks wrong.
Okay.
You spelt that. And we've seen this. Now, we might not see so many problems in English, but if there is, there can be problems in it, of course, and stuff is out of date and stuff can break and someone can put stuff in that's a mistake, but also in different translations. So you can, up the top, right.
Like I say, I thought I knew where it was, and it's not there.
In that, there's 3 drop-down buttons.
3 doodads.
You can do edit.
I can do edit.
Did it not work?
I can do edit.
Third clicks a charm.
Why did that work?
Okay.
Oh, you're not signed in. You'll have to sign in first. Why doesn't it just prompt you to sign in? But
just Rob. No, let's sign in as me. I am signed in.
As a slight digression, but essentially we do allow you to do.
Yeah. Anyway,
there's a nice UX around it, but we want people to be able to say, look, there is a problem here. If you were saying that a consultant was taking, wanted to build off this, literally they could then fork off it, make the changes, and use it for their own organization. They don't owe Microsoft any money by taking this and changing it. And if they have something that's really cool, or they made a change, or they fixed something, or they added a whole new set of functionality, they can check it in for the rest of the world to use. So,
well, I I've appreciated that you've dug into, I think, the breadth and depth of which people can choose to contribute to these. Because your point is like, it doesn't have to be technical contributions. I'm assuming also be like, if somebody just said like, I don't know how this would be done, but I have an idea. I'm assuming you can even, to a degree, like submit ideas as well, just of like suggestions.
Well, yeah.
The other way that you contribute to an open source project, any open source project, is this button here. Says issues.
You can actually report bugs on it, and you'll see a fair number of few bugs. And so we have got a few. So we do try and find the right one. Of the problems with such a disparate solution set of scripts owned by different people essentially is finding the right owner to fix it and then getting their attention to fix it. But and
so for Reed's suggestion, got something here. We've got a new issue now. Mark, here's another suggestion. I would suggest that you use some templating here, like you would do on DBA tools or other solutions. That means that this could be pre-filled with information to help people to go ahead. But it'd be key, like Reed has spotted an issue with the FCA. And then you could type your information into here, put in some code samples. Please, if you're going to put error messages in, copy the error message. Don't just put a screenshot, because that'll help everything to be able to be searched for it. If somebody searches in the issue, they can see that that's already there. And please, when you use the error messages, make sure you take out any important information that might be passwords or stuff from your organization, which is not to be shared outside of the world. Anything confidential, please make sure that's there. You can do that, and then it'll go and create. It might sit there for a long time if nobody sees it. So maybe you will go, and we saw that it was, if we went into the FCA, we saw that we could find the name of the people who were doing the work. If we went to history, we could see that this was Roman. So maybe when we had our issue, if it was the issue with FCA, what we could also do is we could do that, and it was Pulse Web, and it comes up. And then that is then going to hopefully come up in some notification. I probably have a lot of notifications there that I don't take enough notice of, but this is the way that you can make.
We do look at them, and I think so. And I do keep an eye on the pull requests. There have been like a week where I didn't look at it, and it had gone up to like 20 something. And
how many I would say hours a week do you spend on just like repo maintenance and updates?
Generally just a couple of hours.
Okay, that's not too bad.
So let's have a look. So we have got I've got some stats. We've got 46 contributors so far that have done some work. And actually, I did want to mention, although I think it's still quite it's not quite a well-known repo, just from the sheer number of stars and stuff. This year we are so far this year, by the end of April, before May, we have already done the same hits. We surpassed the hits that we had for the entire 2025. So we can actually
that's awesome.
There's quite a lot more users coming in, users using it, and obviously the more users who use it, the more the happier people feel, because their scripts are being used, even if the numbers are just from FUAM and FCA. A rising tide, is good for all ships.
Yeah. Yes. That's approximately the quote. Yes.
Whatever the quote. Yeah, I'm sure.
Rising waters raise all ships.
That's the one.
There you go.
I think there's 334 forks and 700. What was the number? 61 stars.
It says on the front here, 334 forks, 762 2 stars.
Oh, it's gone up
Check it out.
since
Went up
I
by
looked
1.
a few hours ago.
I don't think you can star yourself. Is that allowed?
No, because this is the Microsoft one, so
Okay.
I can do that. I'm allowed to.
Fair.
And watched by 42, so that's cool.
Yeah, we do have numbers from when it started, and you can see the numbers going like from 50, 50 forks and stuff, and when it went like from 50 forks and like less than 100 stars, and has gone up over time. So it does show it's been used quite a lot, but I put scripts up there all the whenever I think there's a really useful script, they go up there. Just because it's why not share your work, and it's a good place for people to find it. That's all.
Well, I will say we are at a bit of an interesting time these days, because yes, open source stuff has always been great. I think there is an increased amount of people taking something that an individual wants to be free, and then just like vibe code grabbing it and throwing it into a SaaS product and trying to sell it. So I'm talking to quite a few members in the community. It's unfortunately seems like there's a bit of a lean now towards like trying to open source the tooling, but using CLI or something else to somewhat protect the IP a little bit, so it's not just grifted into a crappy copy and then like sold by somebody offshore as a product. So because that is starting to become a bit of a trend that I've noticed, because it's so easy to steal stuff using LLMs. So I'm very much an advocate of open source, but I've just noticed a shift in culture a bit on sensitivity around not wanting someone to monetize off of work that you've done, because it's so easy to do that now.
I want to get to Rob. I want to ask Rob a question, but just on your thing, yes, you can build that stuff and you can get the LLM to write it, and it's really good. It can do some. I've done some really, really good stuff very, very quickly, but maintaining it becomes it's very expensive, because you have to use the LLM to maintain it, and you have to ask it very carefully what you need it to do. So unless because you don't know how it works, because you've just an LLM written it, so that's where things become slightly challenging.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's why a lot of these things are like very sloppy. Like it technically does the thing that it's saying, but it's like it's a person who built a house for you, reading a children's book on architecture. So like from a distance it looks fine, but when you start to look at the details, you realize that like it will crumble, under scrutiny.
Yeah. So Rob, what's your main usage of the toolbox? Are you a contributor?
You know that I'm a contributor. My main usage, honestly, is Farm. I spend a lot of time at work in Farm and in FCA, and I truly enjoy working with those products. But Mark and indeed Alex, who we just talked about, asked myself and Jess Pomfret to take over this PowerShell module, which is the Microsoft Fabric Management. It's a silly name, but naming things is hard. PowerShell module. And basically, the reason for it existing is so that people who know how to use PowerShell can interact with Fabric in the way that they want to administer. Some people are going to use Python. Some people are going to use Fabric CLI. Some people are going to go straight to the API. That's totally fine. But there is a number of people, and these are the people that sort of Jess and I will talk to at the PowerShell conference at the end of this month, who are admins of Windows Microsoft environments, who are now being told, hey, you need to look after Fabric. We are going to do Fabric. Please put it in. And they're like, so Jess and I both get DMs saying, what's Fabric and how do I start? Where's the biggest problem? Is there a PowerShell module for it? And at least for the PowerShell module, I can say yes, there is. It's all based on the REST API, and we are, we spend our free time when we're not doing many of the other things, just making this work. And I use this probably every day at work as well to to answer questions, because for me, it's really comfortable. When I use DBA tools, I could just say get dash DBA database and a name, and it would go and find it, or I could invoke a query, or I can update it, or whatever. Now I've got the same thing. I can do get Fabric capacity, get Fabric workspace role assignment. Who or which groups have which permissions on this workspace? Bang, and away it comes. It's super easy. It's also a lot of fun for me. So this is the
Out of
place
curiosity. Yeah,
Yep.
well, and part of from both of you for community contributions, and we can maybe use this to also start winding down a little bit. What contribution is one that either of you have been most proud of, either as an add to something or the creation of something?
in Fabric Toolbox specifically, or in general?
Let's keep it in the scope of, like, I guess what we've talked about today. And if it's a quick answer, maybe both, like, related to this and then just overall.
Thing I'm most proud of is the way the people that I have mentored have gone on to build great strides and then mentor other people. That's the biggest contribution I have made.
Okay.
Without any doubt at all. In
That's
Fabric
a good one. I
Toolbox,
like that.
it's this module. So marky mark.
Well, whatever I say now, I'm just going to look like a scumbag. You can't come in with the world peace answer and then me come in afterwards.
Love and puppies and unicorns. Yes.
Is it the Great Dane outfit? Is that?
Yes. I think that was my best contract. I had one person say they liked it. So if I can make one person smile, then I've done my job. One person's life a little bit more enjoyable for like 30 seconds, then what more can you want?
It's both good quality and commendable answers, I think.
So
yeah.
let's get it back on you, Reed. What's your biggest contribution?
Yeah, well, I mean, like the thing that I really enjoyed building over the last year was probably the multi-tool that I've built out through a lot of vibe coding, where it's just a Power BI external or a external tool that just does a lot of things that just annoyed me, and I wanted a button that would fix it. So that's been a fun passion project on that. I think I'll mirror on you though, like just to say, like in general, there's something really nice when you can like be in a room full of people and have people come up to you. Like recently, actually, for something that I enjoyed as a contribution that I think made me feel good is I did a talk on a short talk at SQL Bits a few weeks back called Speaker Hacks for Nervous Nerds Who Like to Speak. And I got like a handwritten note from somebody, from one of the room assistants, the helpers, on just like really appreciate you for this, as a similar person who struggles to like speak and all this. Like it's really nice to to feel seen. Like, oh, okay, yeah, like this goes in my box of keepsakes that I'm keeping forever. But yeah, it's nice to be able to be techie and geeky and do stuff, and then know that you've led to a positive impact for other people.
Have either of you seen Sorry I Married an Axe Murderer?
The 90s comedy,
It feels like the scene where I'm going, everybody point at the insensitive man. Yeah, I'm the insensitive man. Everybody point at me.
No.
Yeah.
We know that you're not.
Any let's see, I love the PowerShell thing. So yeah, so just pop that up from Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Alex always with the good vibes. Yeah. Any final epiphanies, insights, anecdotes, quips, euphemisms, analogies, or otherwise general banter you want to share as to wrap up the session today?
Nothing about this is any criticism of Fabric as the Fabric product team, what they have created and released. These are just things that exist to make some of this better whilst they get on with it.
I think you can make something that's addressing a gap without necessarily saying something is bad, but like I see a need that needs to be filled that this is built for. Yeah.
It's a question that I was asked when I was talking about it in Atlanta. I was talking about the Fabric Toolbox and all of the things that we've got. So I think it's a good thing to call out. That is like you said, these are things that fill some gaps, enable you to move forward, accelerate your onboarding of using the Fabric. They are not a criticism of the people who make Fabric or the product itself.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. They're a both and for existence, not an either or. And I think in general, there's a lot of community things that sometimes show up natively. Like Tyndall is like my favorite example of that. It was something that addressed a gap that Microsoft didn't have, and it created a demand for hardening that eventually became Microsoft native. So I wouldn't be surprised if years down the road, certain things in this toolbox might show up in some capacity natively. Could very much be a possibility for a few of those. I agree on your statements. It's like, what one a showcase of any of these is not a criticism of another. Yep.
No, these are built by people with real world problems, and sometimes the product group are looking at slightly different things. They're looking at expanding some piece of functionality, and there's only so many hours in a day, and they can't do everything. So that's why these are not bad things. We just can't get around to doing every single thing we want to do. So if someone else writes FUAM, well, great. That means there's less pressure to get that bit out, because we do have something. Doesn't mean that we aren't going to get there and fix it in the end, but it means that there's a little less pressure, and we can get those other bits done that we need to do. So some people think we have like infinite developers, like in infinite, we've got like in infinite cages, with infinite typewriters, all writing infinite amounts of code. It's just not quite like that.
It's one of my favorite podcasts, Infinite Monkey Cage.
Yes.
Is that an infinite?
Yeah.
Infinite Monkey Cage. BBC or BBC Radio 4? Okay, yeah. I think I've heard of this one.
It'll change your life. Give it a listen. It is
if you've not heard it, the lovely Professor Brian Cox.
Brian Cox. Oh, yeah, I love Brian Cox.
Not the actor, not the one from Manhunter.
No, the other.
No. Yeah, like the guy who's he does a lot of astronomy.
Yeah.
About really big numbers.
And Robin.
He does have a very interesting, his voice is relaxing. I feel like I think he could do like a sleep podcast and just like talk you to a nice lull.
Absolutely, he is a.
Are you going to say things can only get better, or am I going to say that?
Hashtag YOLO model. Come on, Mark. Or YOLO mode. There you go.
You always live once.
Yeah, you only live once. Mid-2000s term.
Well, I'm too young to know. I'm too old to know what that means.
It was around when you were in your 30s.
That's in the 1930s.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think we're at a good stopping point. So I want to thank you both for coming on to this. And also, like I hadn't thought about it, Rob, but I'm assuming that abstract LED thing behind you is just an abstraction of your face.
Absolutely. So
okay.
This comes from it's on all of my social media, and it came because when I worked in the civil service, they used to say, don't phone people, go to their desk. So you get up and you move around. So I would go walk to another building. It might be a quarter mile away, and I'd go to somebody's desk and I'd be like, oh, is Reed there? And they'd be like, no, Reed's at a meeting over there. I'm like, oh. And I'd leave a message that said, call Rob. Problem was, the DBA team was Rob, Stuart, and let's say Ben, and the SQL developer team was Rob, Stuart, and let's say Ben, and there was also a Rob in the admin team, and there was also a Rob on the service desk. So nobody ever rang me back. So I used to just scribble that on a post-it note and stick it, and then people started ringing me, and I'm like, haha. So I did it so many times.
I like
The
it.
first time I got something with like a tablet with a stylus, I turned it into digital, and then put it on, as an icon for things, stickers and all the rest of it. And then my wife made this, or had this made for me. So
That's awesome. Okay.
it's super nice.
I like it. Oh yeah, and you get two of you on the video. So
Also that.
well, I want to thank both of you for coming on. Looking forward to the next time I get either of you on for some other fun topics here in the future, or getting a chance to hang out with Fabric at some point. You can't see it quite well. Let's see, they're right there. This guy is a baby version of our friend Fabric that we have that actually comes in.
In fact, Fabric is Rob's fault.
Is it?
Mm.
There you go. I can stare at him.
I mean, Rob is Fabric's father. If we want to put it like that.
There is a story there that shall not be told on this.
Is this more? We needed a Maury episode where we you are the father. Yes.
Thank you very much for having us, Reed. It's been
absolutely yes. And with that, everyone, thanks for tuning in. For people watching later, thanks for checking the video out as well. And then you guys have a great rest of your evening, and I'm sure I'll see you at some point here, hopefully at the European Fabric Conference.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, bye.